Okay, so in our last session, we have discussed how to make the invoices in different ways. So we can make three different ways of invoice. One is the purchase order invoice, another one is invoice journal, and third one is invoice register and invoice pool, invoice approval. So these are the three different ways you can create the vendor invoice. So today we will discuss more about the payments. So what are the different methods of payment will be there. So we will see more in detail. Okay. So before going that, so do you have any doubt in the purchase order process, return order process, and invoicing part? If you have any queries, you can raise it.
No, Gautam, brother.
Okay. So let's proceed further. So today we will create the payments. Okay. So for creation of payments, we must require the method of payment. So method of payment is nothing but in which mode you are making the payment to the vendor. So either it may be a cash payment, either it may be a card payment, either it may be a bank transfer. So there are different ways of defining the payment methods. Okay, so now we will see the method of payments first, then we will go with the payment journals. Okay, to create the method of payment, for that you need to navigate accounts payable module. Okay, under accounts payable module, you will have setup. Under setup, you have payment setup, method of payment. Okay, so at here already you can see there is a demo instance already. There are a couple of payment method has been defined, but we will create new. Okay, for example, if you are creating cash, okay, so you will click on new and you will define the cash. Like for example, at here I am giving G cash as I am creating. Okay, the name should be unique, and the description will be, you will give the deep description, I mean in detail description of this particular payment method, like cash transactions, cash payment method. Okay, and you have the payment status. So basically this particular payment status is used for the uh, when you are sending any particular kind of records to the external vendor. Like for example, you may have checks. So for that checks, you will change the status to the sent. The reason why we will change the status to sent, as we are sending the our instrumental copy to the external vendor. Okay, for that purpose we use this particular status. Okay, other than that, you have allow copy of payments, check toggle button. By default it will be no. Okay, and period, it will be by default on invoice. On the basis of invoice only we are making the payments. Okay, grace period, like for example, your due date is, let's imagine your due date is uh, on 29th January. Okay, and if you want to allow grace period like additional 2 more days, so you can update the grace period. In that case, what will happen if the invoice due date is on 29th and you are allowing additional 2 days, then the unofficial due date will be first of 31st of January. Okay, and you can see the payment type. So in payment type we have different payment types. Like for example, we have others. Okay, others is nothing but it is a generic payment methods. So other than that, you will have the check, electronic, and promissory notes. So these are the three different additional ways which we can create it. So in this one, promissory note is outdated. So currently we are not utilizing the promissory note. We are mostly utilizing the check and electronic payments in Dynamics. Okay, but promissory note, I believe you all know, when you borrow some huge money, from your own relatives, then you will use the promissory note as an instrument document that you have took it, right? So at here also similar, the concept is there, but we are not utilizing the promissory note. So we are mainly uh, I mean, in Dynamics nowadays, it's core on electronic payments and checks, okay? And we have some other payment method like wire transfers. So those all are considered as the electronic payment itself, okay? So other than that, if I scroll, we have a total uh, four tabs over here: General, File Format, Payment Control, and Payment Attribute. So in General tab, okay, if it is a if you are select the payment, I mean if you are, we will see, okay. So at yeah, so at here in General tab, you can define the predefined offset account, okay. Now you can see at here I have a posting, so I have the ledger account type as account ledger, so I can define my ledger account. Like for example, at here I'm defining the cash account. Like for example, uh, cash account I have defined has a offset account, okay. Now after saving this particular record, okay, now let me make duplicate tab of this particular transaction, okay. So now at here I am creating one payment journal, okay. To creation of vendor payment journal, for that we need to navigate accounts payable, okay. We have payments, we have vendor payment journal. The name of the general type for this particular vendor payment will be vendor disbursement. Either it may be any, you can create multiple payment journals for the different transaction method. For your tracking purpose or for your easy reporting purpose, you can track it, okay. But the journal type will be vendor disbursement. To see the journal tab, you can right click on this particular journal name, okay. You can see vendor disbursement. So far we have seen couple of journals and we know those journal names. Okay, like for example, for journal, it will be a daily journal type. For periodic journal, periodic. For allocation journal, it will be allocation. For invoice journal, vendor invoice recording. For payment journal, vendor payment journal, it's vendor disbursement. Okay. For vendor invoice, it is vendor invoicing, okay. And vendor invoice approval, it is approval, okay. So these are the couple of journals which we have seen so far, okay. But please make sure to remember these particular journal names. In interview definitely they will ask, okay. Now at here, when I click on new to create new vendor payment journal, and at here I need to select the journal name. Like at here I am selecting the vendor payment, RAP, accounts payable payments, okay, whatever it may be. So at here I am going to the lines. We will see one by one different payment method and how it will work. We'll see it together, okay. Yeah. So at here I am selecting some random vendor, okay. And at here I have given the amount in debit 500, okay. Now instead of selecting the offset account type, offset account, what I will do, I will go to the method of payment, okay. In method of payment, Okay, in method of payment we have created Gcash. Okay, so if you scroll over here you will find Gcash as method of payment. Okay, so once you select the Gcash, so what it will do, it will populate your offset account type and offset account. Okay, now you can see when I selected the offset account as Gcash, I mean method of payment as Gcash, you can see this 566666. It's coming from where? What are the main account which we have mapped in the method of payment? That particular offset account is populating in my offset column. Okay, now I can post the transaction to complete the payment. Okay, so this is the cash method of payment. Okay, let's imagine now I want to create the check payment. So to create the check payment, we have another prerequisite. One is the payment method. Another payment requisite is you need to set up the check in cash and bank management. Okay, so this is the different module. So I am showing that also in this particular session. Okay, let it post this particular journal. Meanwhile, let me go back to the another tab. Okay, so at here, let me navigate to the cash and bank management. Okay, so at here I am going to cash and bank management, bank account, bank account. Okay, so at here you can see we have different bank accounts over here. Okay, so at here let me select the uh, okay, let's select MB bank account itself. Okay, to configure the check, so what we will do, first we will navigate to the cash and bank management, bank account, bank accounts. Okay, then this particular form will be open. So in this particular form we will select that respective bank account. Like for example I am selecting the MB bank, so I will select that respective bank account, or you can open this particular bank account. Okay, so after opening this particular bank account or selecting that particular bank account, you can see we have a setup on top. So we will click on setup. Okay, and we have at here three different layouts, I mean three different action heads. One is the negotiable instrument, another one is layout, third one is method of payments. Okay, so at here what we will do under layout, we will have check. So we will click on check. Okay, so at here we have two different methods in check. One is free, another one is fixed. So what is difference between free and fixed? So in fixed check method, so what will happen, the check number is already defined in the check number. Okay, so it will be a continuous again, so by default the check number will be picked it. Okay, I mean we need to define the checks number how many checks are available, so we need to define that one. So if it is a free check, then what we need to do, so whenever you are publishing the check, okay, so it will ask to enter the check number. Okay, so we will see both the scenario. Let's select the free has check type, check method. Okay, then you will click on generic export, electronic export file, yes. So at here you need to export format configuration, so you need to configure the export format. So currently it is nothing is there, as I need to import from the repository. Okay, so at here this check is there, right? So this I will synchronize it. I will show you how we can map the export format. Okay, so at here, once this is selected, so by default we have uh, these are the standard check formats. Okay, so if you want to define the check formats according to the respective country region, so we need to customize that particular check format. Okay, so in India we are using the check leaves. Okay, it will be a the this length will be around uh, 15 centimeter, and breadth will be around 8 centimeter, right? But if you see in other countries, they are utilizing A4 size checks. Okay, and they are using the letter size checks. In other countries, in some countries they are using the small check leaves, as similar to your check leaves. Okay, so at here, so for those kind of check leaf alignment, we need to do the customization. So at here, currently I'm selected the US check format. This is the standard. Okay. So other than that, we need to define the layout. So in layout, I will define the paper length. Okay. Either in centimeter or millimeter. The paper length, like let's imagine it's 11.69. Okay, so I am giving just equivalent to the letter size. Okay, so when I say 11.69, the paper length, and based on that, my check will be started. Okay, so at here you can see check starting position. Like for example, if the check starting position is after 6, so it means that from 11.69 centimeter or millimeter, in that after 6 millimeter the check actual position information will be started, so I need to print over there. So that it means that check starting position. Okay, and once you have defined the paper length, okay, under setup you can specify the bank account number to be printed it on it, name, even company name, company logo, okay, bank account number. So these are the information, if you want you can print on it, so by enabling this toggle button. Okay, and signature you can keep it by electronic, or you can go with the manual signing procedure. Okay, so once uh, this is the main configuration of the check. So after that you will click on print test to review it. Okay, so if you want to review the format, so you will click on print test, and we have two different check format layout over here. One is negotiable check format and non-negotiable check format. You will check both of them and you will click on OK. So in both of them it will be displayed. So currently you can see the printable paper length must be at least 100.23 millimeter. So let me change to 100.24. Okay, so when you run a dummy check, so it will be displayed in this way. Okay, so this is the dummy check when you print from the bank. Now the check layout has been defined as free, so we will see after that fixed also. So once this is done, so in our method of payment, accounts payable, setup, payment, method of payment. Okay, so at here now I am creating a new payment method called G check. So for that I will click on new. I will define the method of payment as G check. Okay, check payment method. Okay, so at here I will keep the status as sent. Okay, and at here the payment type I will make it as check. Okay, so after updating the sent and check, I will define the posting type. The instead of account type is ledger, I will change to bank, and I will select the respective bank account. That is M004, right? Sorry, 4044. Okay. So after updating this particular information, so if I scroll down, so I have the payment control. Sorry, file format. So in file format, we will generic electronic export. Okay, export format configuration. So at here inside that you will find, sorry, sorry, this generic electronic export format. So we have another tool called electronic reporting. Okay, so this is one of the new add-on reporting purpose. So we are utilizing the electronic reporting where you can inbuilt your QRC code and the additional barcode for scan. After scanning it, you can get the complete detail of the information. Okay, so this electronic reporting is newly added inside the Dynamics, and it can be easily integrated with any third party electronic reporting tool. Currently we are utilizing in the Saudi regions more. Okay, so they need to submit on day to day basis. So how many purchase order invoices has been posted and how many sales order invoice has been posted to track their exact net profit. Okay, so based on that, yeah, their income tax and corporate tax will be calculated. Okay, so this rule is not yet implemented in other GCC region, but very soon it may be recorded. So this electronic report in other countries, mostly we are based on that we are preparing the advanced rule templates, we are designing it. Okay, okay, so at here in export format, so export format, what I will do, let me right button. Okay, there is no view details. Uh, okay, so at present I have selected format test. So at here you can select the check. Let me show you the export format. Okay, let it be. So at here I have selected the format one test. Okay. Other than that, if you go to the payment control, in payment control, you can define what are the necessary field to be mandatory. Like for example, now you can see over here, we have different payment fields are mandatory. Okay, like for example, we have bank transaction type should is mandatory. Okay, offset account has type is bank, check number is mandatory, payment specification is mandatory, payment ID is mandatory, payment note is mandatory, payment reference is mandatory. Okay, so these are the some payment control. So without these information for this respective transaction, you cannot proceed further. Like for example, at here I am updating the payment reference and the check number is mandatory and payment reference is mandatory. So after enabling these two payment specification, I have saved this particular record. Now when I'm making the check payment method based on this particular payment method, so for that I will go back to the vendor payment journal. So at here I will click on new, and at here I will select the journal name AP in AP payment lines. So at here let me select the vendor. Okay, so at here I am giving the amount in debit has 50. Okay, and when I scroll down at here, instead of selecting the offset account, what I will do, I will go to the method of payment and I will select the G check. So once I select the G check, so what it will do, it will update the bank information. I mean the offset account is bank and the bank account number. Okay, so at here you can see the method of payment is G check, and based on that the bank offset bank account and bank this has been updated. So we need to generate the check now. So far we have created the payment journal. Now we are generating the check. To create to generate the check, so what we need to do, we need to click on generate payment. To click on generate payment, for that you need to navigate on top. You can see this particular payment journal. On top you can see the generate payment. So once you click on generate payment, so system what it will do, it will appear a form in front of you. Okay, where you need to select the payment method as Gcheck. Okay, and at here you need to select that respective bank account, that is what we have selected 404. Okay, so after that you will click on OK. So once you have clicked on OK, so what you will do, system will ask you to update the check number. Gautam, your demo instance is ready. Gautam. Gautam. show you. Uh, Let me show you live. One minute, I'm showing you. Okay, so let me show you some live how the checks will work. Okay, how we can generate it. Okay, so first let me go to the accounts payable. Okay, met payment setup, method of payment. So already we have defined the check, and the at here what I am doing, I am selecting the bank as offset account as bank, and I'm selecting the payment account as okay. So at here you can see in method of payment for check I have defined the account type and payment method. Okay, so once I have defined the payment account, so if I scroll down under the payment control, I have enabled the payment reference and the check number is mandatory. So once these two information has been updated, so at here the payment status should be sent and I have saved the record. So now when I'm utilizing this particular check method of payment in the vendor payment journal, you can see how we can generate the check. So let's see that. So for that, what I am doing, I am going to the uh, payments, vendor payment journal. So at here I am creating new, and at here I am selecting the vendor payment. Okay, 1 minute. So at here see when I have opened this particular drop down, I am not able to view any of these journal. Okay, so this is the journal. Why we are not able to view it? It is because of one particular form. Let me show you. So these are all our journals. So in these all our journals, you can see there is a private user group. So when I'm explaining this particular journal name creation, you can see this private user group is for blocking off the journals to view only to that respective user to whom you want to view it. Okay, so currently I'm creating new, we pay we pay at here. The payment method should be vendor disbursement. So this is our payment journal is ready. Now let utilize this particular payment journal. So at here I'm select, let me refresh the page. Yeah, so when I add a new payment journal, so at here I can select we pay. Still it's not. Oh. You can see that was the reason the tax, transportation tax, because of that it's not showing to me. So I have selected the vendor disbursement again. Now let's go back to the vendor payment journal, new. Now you can see at here we pay which we have created. So lines, so at here I am selecting some random record, like for example some random vendor. I have selected it and I have given the amount as 500, and at here I am selecting my offset account as check. So once I have selected the check payment check over here, my offset account type and offset account is populated. So at here what I will do, I will click on generate payment. So once I click on generate payment, it will ask me to select the method of payment as check, and you will select the respective bank. Okay, so once you have selected the respective bank, you will click on OK. And now you can see this check number is auto populating. So from where it's auto populating, if you define the check number as fixed, then this number will be auto populated based on the check leaf is available on your system. Okay, so if it is free, then this particular from number will be editable. Initially it will be 0 and you can modify according to that. That is free. This is only the difference between these two. Okay, now at here under document, let me make it as screen. Okay, so after defining the check number, you will click on OK. So once you click on OK, so system what it will do, if the printer is connected with your system or printer is within your network, then the check will be printed in your uh, check will be printed directly. Now at here I have selected on screen, so I have clicked on OK. So now a file will be downloaded, a check generate whatever the check I have generated, the check will be downloaded over here. Now you can see the process of operation, the print check is on it's in processing. Now you can see a check file has been downloaded. Okay, so this is the payment advice report. So payment advice report is nothing but, so this is the payment what you have done against which particular invoice. So those information will be populated under the payment advice report. Okay, now let's see this particular check format which we have downloaded it, which has been downloaded. For that you will go to the let me go to download check US check format. So now you can see this is the letter size check format. You can see this is nothing but 130000. This is nothing but the voucher number. This is the vendor name. Okay, this is the date. Okay, so if you scroll down, this is the vendor name and amount in words, check date, and this is the amount. Okay, so this is one way of printing the check. Okay, the main difference in when you are generating if you want to regenerate this particular check, so what you will do, So you have the payment status over here. For at here you will go back to the reject to cancel the check. For that you will click as yes, then this check will be cancelled and you will change the status to none. Now this check, you can regenerate the check for this particular transaction. For that again you will go to the generate payment, method of payment and bank account. By default it will be selected. For first time you need to map. Okay, you will click on OK. By default the check number will be populated automatically even if it is free, as once you have updated. So based on the next continuous number sequence it will be picked. So in case if you want to modify the check number you can modify it. Okay, if it is free. If it is a fix you cannot modify it, either you need to cancel it. Okay, so at here I will click on OK. So once I clicked on OK, the check will be generated. You can see a file has been ordered. Let me open. So this is the check which is generated. Okay, so any doubt on this particular check generation? So after that we will post the transaction. Okay, now you can see if I scroll towards my right, okay, I have check number which is mandatory, which is updated. Okay, so I have mapped another column called payment reference. You can see the payment reference under the bank. You can see the payment reference which is also mapped. It means that my mandatory requirement whatever I have enabled in the payment control, so those has been done. So it means that I can post the transaction without any issue. So if I click on post, the transaction will be posted. You can see the transaction has been posted. So similarly we have another check method, that is nothing but the PDC check. So PDC check is nothing but you will give the future date check in advance and it will be deposited later to the bank. So for that also we have some small configuration. So we will see before that one more payment method called electronic payment. So electronic payment is nothing but either it may be a wire transfer, bank to bank transfer, or RTGS or NIFT or IMPS transactions or UPI transactions. Okay, these all are nothing but electronic transfer. Okay, the payment type will be electronic transfer. So for this what you will do, you will create a new payment method under the method of payment. Okay, like for example at here I am creating the EL transfer. Okay, so at here the payment type will be electronic payment. The electronic payment either may be a bank to bank transfer or RTGS, IMPS, UPI payment, etc. Okay, will be considered as electronic payment. Okay, and you will specify the offset account, that is bank, and you will select the respective account, offset account, what it should be, like for example FGB daily. Okay, so after updating this information, so what you will do, you will scroll down and for this what should be mandatory, like for example payment reference should be by default it should be updated. If the payment reference is not updated, it will not allow you to post. Okay, so once you save this particular record and once you create any transaction, like for example if I'm creating the vendor payment journal, clicking on new. Okay, vendor pay lines. Okay, so at here let me select some random vendor. Okay, so let me update the amount. Okay, so once I select the method of payment has EL transfer, you can see now this information has been updated. So if I try to post this particular transaction, this electronic any payment transaction, so what it will do, it will by default give me an error stating that the payment reference is not specified this particular voucher. Okay, so in that case what I need to do, I need to specify the payment reference number. So where I need to specify the payment reference number, you need to go to the bank tab over here, and at here you can see the payment reference column will be applied over here. So in this particular column you will specify the payment reference number. Like for example, I am specifying some payment reference number, random payment reference number. Okay, so once you have updated this particular payment reference number, you can post this particular transaction. Now you can see the operation has been completed. It means the transaction has been posted. So far we have seen the cash, check and electronic transfer. So do you have any query on this particular payment transaction?
No, Gautam.
Okay, so let's see the PDC. PDC is nothing but the post dated check. Like for example, uh, you are giving some future date check uh, in advance to the landlord or any of the vendor, that you can use this check for deposit of, for making of the payment of my existing invoice amount. Okay, uh, basically in UAE what will happen. Okay, so already I've shared my screen. Hope you are able to view it. So basically, what will happen, and let we in UAE or in GCC countries, we have best example. So what we used to do, we have the rent utility. Okay, we need to pay our rent on each month basis or by monthly basis. Okay, so or quarterly basis. So what in UAE, what they will do, they will collect the advance check based on those particular date. Like for example, I have rented a up 1 BHK flat. Okay, let's imagine it's 45,000. Okay, it's my annual rent. So this 45,000 will be divided by into 12. divided by 12, so you will get your monthly amount. Okay, so when I say by monthly check, so I need to pay 2 months rent in one check. So I will have 6 checks. Okay, so each check date will be recorded from the date of actual contract start. Okay, let's imagine my contract, if it is starting from the 1st July or 20th August. So based on that it will be started. Like for example, let me show you 45,000. Okay, so this is my monthly rent. Okay, so when I say 12 months, okay, now this is 12 months, right? So at here, for these two, there will be check number 1. For these two, it will be a check number 2. It will be beginning of the month. Okay, now I have 6 checks. Okay, let's imagine if your contract is starting on 15th Jan. Okay, so let's imagine this is 15/01 2024 or 2025. From here, the future date, next 2 months, it means that 15/03 2025, 15/05 2025, 15/07 2025, 15/09 2025, 15/11 2025. So these are the check dates for this particular each check, right? So at here, for this particular check date, the amount will be combination of these two, that is nothing but 7,500. Okay, so these are the check dates and check amount. So the landlord, what he will do, he will collect the 6 checks with this particular date and this particular amount. Okay, and these checks will be available with landlord. So landlord, what he will do, when this particular date arrive, he will deposit this particular check to the bank, and the amount will be deducted from my account and it will be deposited to that respective landlord account. Okay, so these checks issuing advance to the respective landlord or respective vendor or respective customer in advance is known as post dated checks. The date has been already presented, but it's related to the future transaction. For that purpose, we utilize this method called post dated checks. Okay, so at here, to configure this particular post dated check, we need to define, one is the method of payment. Okay, similar to the check whatever we have defined it, so we will utilize the same method of payment for PDC check. So the first is we need to set up the method of payment. Second thing is we need to define the ledger accounts for the PDC checks. For that, let me show you that. Further, you need to go to the cash and bank management. Okay, in cash and bank management, under setup, you have cash and bank parameter. Okay, so at here you have post dated checks. Okay, enable post dated checks, you will enable it. Okay, and if you want to issue PDC check or clearing checks, you can define it. Okay, so currently I'm not utilizing it. By default we will use this one, enable post dated checks. Okay, so once I have enabled that one, so when you go back to the accounts payable, okay, method of payment, so at here you can see the PDC method of payment. So in PDC method of payment, so we will have the same posting type will be bank, and the payment account, let's imagine FGB daily. Okay, you will enable bridge posting as yes, post dated check clearing posting yes. So at here you will select the bridge account. So what do you mean by bridge account over here? So bridge account is nothing but temporary account, or temporary where you are parking your transactions. Like for example, at here let me select. Okay, so at here I have selected some account called PDC payable. Okay, so now at here I have given this particular transaction as PDC payable. Okay, so when I do the transaction, so it will not directly debit the bank. I mean, not directly it will credit the bank. So what will happen, it will trigger your vendor will be debit, and instead of bank, your this particular bridging account will be credited. Okay, once the date is matured and the transaction has been successfully completed, the amount has been transferred to the uh, respective landlord. So in that case, from this particular bridging account, it will move to the bank. So let me show you how it will be work on it. So for that, now I am going back to the vendor payment journal. Okay, so at here I am clicking on new, vpay lines. So at here I am selecting some random vendor. Okay, let me give the amount. So at here I am selecting the method of payment as PDC. Okay, now you can see when I select the method of payment as PDC, by default it takes the bridge account. It's not selected the bank account. Like for example, now you can see previously when we are using the account type and payment account is FGB daily, even if you see check or even if you see the cash. So whatever the ledger account we are defining, or master account, whatever we are defining over here, it is populating under the payment lines when we select the method of payment. So in this case, in PDC, when we make as bridge transaction as yes, so it took the bridge account as by default. So now if I go back to the payment journal lines, you can see the bridge account is populating automatically. Okay, so at here this is the check payment method. PDC is the check payment method, so we need to generate the check. To generate the check, we will click on generate payment, and at here the method of payment you will select as PDC, and it will be FGB daily, and you will click on OK to generate the check. And once you clicked on OK, the check number will be mapped to this particular respective payment transaction. Okay, up to here it is clear. Once the check has been generated, the payment has been ready, so you can post the transaction. So once you post this particular transaction, it means that the PDC check has been issued and posted from your side. Okay, so let me post this particular transaction. Yeah, now the operation has been completed. It means that my ledger account has been hitted with this particular bridge account. So if I go back to the voucher, now you can see my vendor is getting debited and my PDC payable account is created. Okay, let's imagine now today is the mature date. Okay, when I say the mature date is nothing but it means that now this date has been arrived. Okay, so these all are mature dates. So mature dates is nothing but when the check has been arrived to that respective date. Okay, so what we will do now, what happened, we have posted the PDC transaction with which ledger account, with the PDC payable account. Okay, now we have already mapped to the temporary account. From temporary account we are moving to the our main ledger account. Okay, so for that there are two different ways you can do it. For that you can go to the journal ledger, journal entries, journal. Okay, you will click on new, and at here you will select the journal name as uh, journal. 1 minute, let me add journal. Okay, I have selected journal lines. Okay, so if I go to the function, you can see select bridge transactions. So you will click on select bridge transaction. So it will display the whatever transaction you have posted, and it is already available in bridge. From here you are releasing to the bank. Now you can see when I open the select bridge transaction, you can see there is a one record which is created with the payment reference number. This is a check number. Okay, so this is the vendor and this is the amount. So you will select this particular payment reference number and you will click on accept. So once you have clicked on accept, now at here you can see a record will be created. Okay, so this is your bridge transaction previously which is credited, now it is getting debit and it is transferring to the bank. Okay, so it means that the accounting impact for this particular PDC transaction, how it will be, like for example if it is a vendor, will be debited with 10,000 and credited to the bridge account with 10,000. This is during the payment. When we are when the maturity date has been arrived and we are transferring from bridge to the bank, in that case my bridge account is getting debited with the same amount 10,000 and my bank is debited with 10,000, created with 10,000. So this is the PDC transaction financial impact. Okay, so at here I need to submit to the workflow and I need to post it. So let me do that. So for that I need to go a step back. So let me submit to the workflow. Okay, so right here I have already approved this particular journal. So let's wait for completion of this particular journal approval process. Then we will post the transaction. I will show you the voucher. Okay, now you can see this particular journal has been approved. Now I can post this particular transaction. So once I post this particular transaction, you can see after posting the voucher, your bridge account will be debited and your respective bank account will be created. So let me click on voucher. Now you can see the bank. First line you can see it is a bank. First Abu Dhabi Bank is created with 5010 and your PDC payable is debited with 5010. Okay, so this is the transaction which will be posted during this particular record. Okay, is there any doubt on this particular PDC or check payment method, electronic payment method, cash payment method?
No, Gautam.
Okay, so we'll stop up to here. Tomorrow we will see some of the reports part which is available in the accounts payable. Okay, so we'll see some of the reporting part tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, Gautam. Okay, Gautam.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.